Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian and welcome back to Everspace. Now, as you know, this is a game I've been playing for quite a long while now. It had a fairly long stint in early access, but last week it finally come out of early access and is now on its full retail release. A number of new things have been added into the game, and we're going to jump in here and have a look at what these are. So I like playing the game through third person, but you can change that through the game. Well, hopefully, I don't know how I like playing. Let's say inverted. Oh, this is new. Well, let's see how this goes.
I'm having memory loops. There was a dispute. I was standing in the way of their plans. I was restrained. Shot with something. Who is this? I managed to escape. That's all I can remember. I must find some answers.
So for those of you that don't know, Everspace is essentially a roguelike, a little bit like FTL and other games of that nature. Effectively, as you're travelling through the system there, and we've got a system map you can actually see here, we travel from zone to zone, and when we get to the end of the zone, there's a little jump gate that takes us through to the next sector. We're currently in Sector 1. Now, if you die at any point, you'll be destroyed and put right back to the start again. Now, on your course of the game, you can do various upgrades. We've got some that we could actually do here, though we don't have any components needed. There's a list of components down the bottom, and ours is all set to 0 at the moment. But what you would do is select an upgrade or build new. So here, for example, we've got an empty slot, and we could build a new item in there, assuming we had the components to do so. Now, components you find as you're flying around the system. One thing they've changed now it's come to full release is the fact that there's no longer any scan probes. What scan probes used to do was set off a little beacon, and they would show you what was around the system, so you could go and collect it straight away. Now that has been removed, and the reason they've done that is for gameplay reasons. Essentially, they said what they felt it was doing was encouraging players to go directly towards each element they wanted to collect and then leave the zone in a hurry. So it was discouraging exploration, and they really want players to explore these rather gorgeous environments. So here we've got a mineable asteroid, and as we're shooting it you can see it falling apart, and from this we get fuel. The fuel gauge is up in the top right hand corner of the screen, and we need to keep that as full as possible so that we can keep jumping.
Remaining well provisioned is key to survival in the cluster. Before leaving the orbit, it is recommended you explore the location for resources.
So just as I was saying there, we did previously during early access, I would have used a scan probe here, but at this point that's not possible. But what they have added in is a radar memory, so that when you do come across things and you fly away from it, the ship will remember its location so that you can head back to it if you need to, or if you decide for whatever reason you don't actually want to collect that particular item. Now you can, don't crash into things. You've noticed that's taken quite a lot of damage off my shield, but that will recharge. What I was about to say is that you can switch between first person and third person mode. So here we are in first person view. So there's a fuel over there that we found earlier. At the moment I can't actually see anything else to collect. Things to collect would be things such as nanobots, scrap, gases of various types, and those sort of things. They would allow us to construct missiles and various other ship upgrades. Alright, let's go over to the waypoint. Maybe it's going to tell us something over there. Now for me, I prefer to play in third person mode. It doesn't actually give you a greater FOV or anything like that, but I do feel it gives me better situational awareness. Now you do get various types of containers. You get regular containers which will have resources in them, and you get tech containers as well, just like this one, and when you're near it you can shoot it, and there, yes.
Decide for yourself whether you want to equip or salvage it.
So what we can do here is, this is a beam laser. It actually does, I was going to say actually does more shield DPS than what I've got, but it actually doesn't. So what I'm going to do is keep the Well, let's swap it just to show you actually. So we can swap between the weapons there. Nope. And now my pulse laser sitting there in space. There's a beam laser. And let's swap back to the Gatling gun because that's the one I want to keep. And what we do, it'll salvage. Oh no, what's going on here? Gatling, pulse. Got to swap the right weapon. I was actually swapping out my Gatling for the pulse. So I'm going to swap my pulse for the... I've got to get this right in a minute. Beam laser, that's what I want. There. So I've got to click in the right place. Should have known that. Over here we've got the two weapons. The Gatling is already equipped, as is the beam laser now. I want to swap the beam laser back for my pulse laser, and we're going to do that and then salvage the beam laser, and that will give us some components, and we'll see exactly what that gives us. It gives us 4 scrap and 3 ore. So we're going to scrap that. And what have we got here? Someone jumping in. Now he said use our weapon overdrive, which is Kiar. Now they only last for a certain period of time, and it'll be a little while before we can actually use that again.
We have exhausted our possibilities here. I suggest advancing to the next location.
The graphical effect there around the edge is simply our weapon overdrive effect, and that should disappear now. And you can see it's again just over 30 seconds before we can use it again. We've got some credits. You can see them up in the top right hand corner of the screen, and in a little while we should get some more, then I'll tell you exactly what they are all about. But for now we're going to jump into Zone 3. We're getting towards the end of Sector 1, and the game's doing quite a good job of giving us a tutorial without actually hand-holding too much or making it too inane. So here we are down the bottom. We've got some of the resources listed that we've actually collected during Sector Zone 2 rather. So let's go to Zone 3. We're ready to travel there now. So the environments do change a little bit as you move from one location to another.
Is that?
It's still a long way to go. You will understand more when we get there.
I would prefer some more substance to your answers.
Right, I've got to read this out. It's energy. Boosting, firing primary weapons and using devices consumes energy. Pay attention to the energy bar below the crosshair. It might be smart to wait for the energy to recharge before going into the next fight. Bring your ship to a full stop in order to increase the recharge speed. Right, and that's the bar it's talking about. It's just there below the reticle. It's actually green. The little red bit is energy that's occupied by various utilities or weapons we've got outfitted. So over here we can fly into, and we're getting a little bit of low FPS performance there. I don't know how much that's coming through on the video. Hopefully not too bad.
Front prospects. Corporate behemoth and sole legitimate operator in the demilitarized zone. Their monopoly has ensured unchecked expansion. You will encounter their jump gates and mining drones frequently.
Now the GMB guys, if we attack them, they will become hostile towards us, and they will remember that as we travel into the next zone. So best not to attack them unless we absolutely need to do so, or we're absolutely desperate for resources. But they would also attack other hostiles that come in, and so they're quite handy for that. So there's some gas here. I'm just going to collect that. They're obviously mining this massive ice asteroid. You've collected enough resources for crafting. Go to the equipment menu and see which items can be modified or crafted from scratch, as indicated by a small icon in the slot's top right corner. Select the new build, or the build new, or upgrade option to open a crafting list. So let's see then. We go tab to go into the menu here, and we'll see what we can build. What I want to do is upgrade my shields if we can, and we cannot. Can we upgrade our... Oh, actually we can't upgrade anything. I don't want to waste... well, we can craft some new missiles. Let's craft... No, I was going to craft one missile then, but let's save it. There's nothing there that's going to give us any benefit just yet. And there's a little bit more gas that's spawned over the other side. Now we started off in a very dark area of space, purely black here, with the gorgeous stellar backdrop. But as we travel through, you'll find that that area does dramatically changed. Now there's a container here, but it's very, very likely that is actually a GMB container. Should we shoot it anyway? We'll see what happens. And no, it's not a GMB container. Good. So hopefully, just as with early access, any containers that are owned by GMB or other factions will actually be tagged with their name. See what's in the tech container there. We've got a few more light missiles, and that's filled us right back up to 20 again. Now we're going to have a little bit of a look around just to see what else there is to find around here. We'll have a look at this large asteroid over here. Now some of the asteroids you can actually fly right inside of. This one here looks like a great candidate. There's actually some mineable crystal, and that's usually inside the asteroids rather than on the outer edges. And as you fly through the game, you'll find there's various types of different structures that you can actually fly right inside of. Some of them pretty darn large. So we get the mineable crystal here.
You have extracted raw materials. These are essential for crafting and upgrading, but you will require much more.
So is there anything else in there? Oh, there's some containers. We'll go and get those. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to try and see exactly where things are located within here, because the little hologram elements of the UI don't really tell you whether the object's behind something or in front of something. And then we've got some more credits. We're now at 1,187 credits. Now credits are used for purchasing perks, and perks are bought when you actually die and you end up finding yourself back in the hangar again. Perks you retain. Even though this is a roguelike, you do lose any upgrades you build for your ship whilst you're actually in a session, so any upgrades we build here, if we die, will get lost. But perks are something very different. Perks are permanent, and we actually need credits in order to purchase them. Credits are earned as we play the game, and I'm having trouble finding this tech container here. As you can see, some hostiles have just appeared towards the edge of the screen. Now nanobots are very, very important. Aside from being used as a resource crafting thing, they're also used for repairing, and your hull can get damaged as well as each different component, and sometimes they will malfunction and cause you no end of grief as you're playing the game. So here we go. We're gonna
operators with varying affiliations, profiting from trafficking, extortion, illegal weapons trading, piracy, clone smuggling.
Maybe they have something I need.
So again, fuel is quite important, because without fuel you can't jump to the next zones and you end up trapped in whatever zone you're actually in. So sometimes, as you saw, NPCs will drop them. Other times you need to find a mining resource to get them, a mineable resource. And sometimes you can take them from large tankers, and there's a nice chunk of credits there. Let's just have a bit of a look around the zone here. Now one thing you really do want to do is spend a lot of time, or as much time as you can, exploring each zone, because there's undoubtedly quite a lot of resources that you will find, and you can see there.
Is breathtaking.
Hostilities only ceased when resources were exhausted, forcing both sides to the negotiating table. The demilitarized zone was created as a buffer zone, monitored by the Okar authorities. Only time will heal the rift between the species.
Right, there you could see there was a destroyed thing, but we've got some Okar forces now inbound. So we're going to jump out before they actually come in, because those forces carry some significant firepower, and there's no way we're going to be able to stand up to them just yet. So here we're going to go into the last zone of this sector. And you're there, you can see a little icon saying that there's a jump gate. So we're going to travel to that. The jump gate will take us to the second sector, and hopefully you'll notice that the graphics there should change as we get a different backdrop. You've reached the final location of this sector. Fly through the jump gate in order to reach the next sector. You won't be needing any fuel for the jump, so you can jump.
Jump gates are the primary method of travel between systems. These were built by Gradient Brunt prospects for their mining drones to reach areas more efficiently.
Okay, thanks for the introduction. Now you want me to use this?
It is the only way to the next sector, so yes.
Right, so here we've also got a large trading vessel, and we can actually fly over here, get near this big hologram icon, and we should then get the ability to trade with it. Now, this Well, the sort of things you can get will vary. Sometimes you can actually receive credits, and sometimes you actually have to give credits. So, for example, here we can give 240 credits and we'll receive a damage booster. Or here we can simply give some gas and receive a plasma mine. Now, none of this is particularly useful for me at the moment, so we're going to simply leave it and fly off. But you can see there's quite a few resources around this area, and I do want to try and get them before we get the too many Okar forces jumping in. And we can see we're down to half a tank on fuel as well, so hopefully there's a bit of fuel around here as well. What else have we got around here? So it's GMB light fighter, another GMB fighter, and we're going to have to explore to see whether or not we can come across something else. A little bit of a shame that the Okar forces came in earlier. There were some damaged structures and we didn't get to have a look inside of them. And here you can see there's a large, what looks to be like an engine perhaps from the back of a huge vessel. I'm going to go over to this Okar fighter over here because it looks like he might just be protecting something, and of course there are some resources over there.
Stumbled upon an outlaw base. Scavengers and raiders of every degree ply the demilitarized zone using these hidden structures to launch operations. I would advise caution on approach.
Maybe it's worth the risk.
Now, bases can be a little bit of a problem because they do sometimes have missile defences, large turrets surrounding them, and you'll have to take them out. You'd have to take them out before you get too close. And you can see as I am shooting things up here, my little green energy bars decreasing. So we do need to keep an eye on that, because if we do get a surprise attack and we've got no energy left, we're not going to be able to defend ourselves too well. And there's some fuel over there. Maybe a bit more, or a nice processor. Let's hope I can get those before anything else goes on. Gorgeous looking visuals in here. Let's just have a look at that from the first person's perspective. Now,
That's just what I need.
those are mines. We've got to watch those. And you can see I've lost a little bit of hull because of that. And I'm now being under major attack. Let's have a look what's going on. So this is when you want to use missiles. If you're coming under all-out assault, missiles will help you out massively. They're quite powerful, especially against the drones here, which really can't stand up to too much damage. They die quite quickly, but they can deal out quite a lot of damage, as you saw there. Now, there were some processors around here, and I do want to get those before we move on. They're potentially more valuable than the... there's a few nanobots. Processors are potentially more valuable than the tech container I've got over there. So where did they go? Tech container, mineable crystal, more containers. Oh, there they are. Those are exactly what I want. Now we're going to need to do a bit of repairing in a minute. So before too much longer, I'm going to do just that. But I do want to pick up these containers if we can find them. They're right inside the asteroid here. Got to keep an eye out for the mines though, because it's likely that there's more of them in here. Right, there's one container. Oh, I need a little bit of fuel in there, but fuel is always welcome. Another container there. Now there should be a tech container around here as well. Don't know where that one went, but let's get the mineable crystals while we're in here. Shoot up the mines. And it looks like the other tech container's just outside the door there. And I've got a little bit too close to a mine there. Right, let's go and get that tech container. And we'll probably be getting close to being time to move on after that. It didn't seem to contain anything, did it? Very odd. Now before we do too much more, I'm going to quickly do a repair. And you can see here we're going to use up 5 of our 15 nanobots. Putting us down to 10. Bit unfortunate, but that's just how it goes sometimes. And there should be some credits over here. And there's also some mineable ore over there, but not going to worry too much just yet. Although I'd highly recommend you pick up all the resources. I do want to actually try and get on and show you the next sector. So let's get the credits, wherever they are, further away than they actually looked. And then we're going to go through the jump gate and head on to Sector 2. So yeah, as I say, do pick up all the resources you can actually see. I wouldn't recommend leaving them as I've done there. Oh, we got a little bit of story here.
Fragments of memories, trying to make sense of them. I had managed to escape. I was weak and ill. My cells were deteriorating. A deadly poison, a cytotoxin. Slow, relentless, eating me away. There was a way to halt its progress, but it would take time. All I could do was set the wheels in motion and await the outcome in stasis. A long, uncertain sleep. I saw myself again. Dying.
This must be a memory from your original. Apparently a flaw in the transference protocol. The Eterna system was meant to filter such personal recollections.
Wait, what are you saying? My original? I'm a
clone, yes. Usually this is not realized by limited-use copies. The function of Eterna was to pass on operational skills, such as piloting. But it seems that something has gone wrong here.
Stop. This is a lot to take on board all at once. Why is this happening? Who am I? Who is my original?
I have no information on that. Perhaps there is a purpose to this aberration which will become clear upon reaching the coordinates given. I have no answers, unfortunately, but I am as curious as you are.
So here we are then in Sector 2, and as I said, the visuals do change. Now, there we go, missile inbound. You can actually shoot down missiles, fortunately, as long as your aim is pretty good. Right, so that's one turret out the way. There is another turret there. So as I was saying, the visuals for the sector have changed, and this is something quite new. I'd never see anything quite like this in early access. And I do think it's very, very nice looking area. Oh, we got hit by that missile, unfortunately. But there are some containers around here, so it was worth the risk in coming out here. Some fuel and some compounder. And what else have we got?
You are acquiring a taste for cast-offs, by the looks of things.
So as you can see down there, there's one with a skull on it. That means they're effectively an elite fighter. They're much higher ranked and much more powerful than us. And there we got some fuel containers. We should get some rather gorgeous explosions if we're able to destroy them. Oh no, that was gas rather than fuel. So something else that's new, something else I hadn't seen in early access. Fuel containers, if you do find them, have a rather gorgeous explosion when they do go off. Let's go over here and take on the Outlaw Scouts. Distance in space, as usual, is quite difficult to judge. They were quite a little bit further away than they might have otherwise looked.
Interesting inside.
It is a possibility. However, my scanners indicate that some systems are still online, including the security protocols.
I knew it. Nothing comes for free.
Result.
And I think we've got the last one here. Oh, we've run out of energy. Let's deal one missile to him. That should finish him off. And we're down to 5 missiles now. And you can see over there, I've actually completed one challenge. Destroy 10 outlaw units in a single run. So challenges, completing them will give you bonuses. So we can see we're now up to 3,500 credits. And we'll have to wait till we're back to the hangar screen to just see how effective and how worthwhile that amount of cash actually is. So there is a special tech container. I've never actually seen one of these, but it seems to be inside the structure. If we can get in there, that is. And there's a turret, so let's be careful there. Oh, it seems the turret is actually inside. Maybe in through here then.
The Okar are a reptilian race with a tendency towards reactive behavior. They are indigenous to the cluster, and the colonials uninvited guests. Distrust runs deep.
Now the special tech container in here I think was protected by a turret, so we're going to have to be careful here. And we're nearly out of missiles, so I'm going to have to construct some more in just a moment. But where did that special tech container go? Has it been destroyed? Ah, we need the access key to get in there, wherever that is. Don't seem to see where that could be. Bit of a shame, because I'd like to know what's in there. We're going to have to get out of here because the Okar forces are now inbound. So unfortunately you don't get quite as much time to explore an area as you might well like. And the Okar forces are going to be a little bit too powerful for me at the moment. Although perhaps I could have hung around just to see whether or not that's still the case. Obviously it was during early access, but it don't necessarily mean it's the same case as now. Now another thing that seems to have changed, at least initially, is that during early access we had different difficulty threats to the different zones here. They'd be coloured red through to yellow to indicate their hostility, but at the moment they're all the same and they all present an unknown risk. So whether or not that changes as we get upgrades, I don't yet know. And here we are, another stunning vista against this beautiful ringed world here. And over here there's a lightning storm and a capital ship of some type, a corvette. Whether or not we can take that on, I don't yet know, but we're being attacked by two sites here, by two angles. I'm not actually going to worry too much about protecting myself here and doing repairs, because before we come to the end of the video I do want to give you a chance of having a look at the perk system. Look at that nebula back there, absolutely gorgeous. So that fire is all coming from the corvette there. Let's see if we can build some missiles. Unfortunately at the moment we can't build any large missiles, and unfortunately as well I can't build any more light missiles. So let's see if we can now upgrade that. So we can do extra damage from the pulse laser there. Let's see if we can upgrade our shield as well. It looks like we possibly can. We can upgrade the shield capacity. Nice, and we'll do that again. And over there we got a shield booster, so we can build another one. We don't want that just yet, but I'm going to use a shield booster, which we have to hold down C to do, and then we're going to take on the corvette here. No idea if we're going to be able to actually do it. Seems
It is indeed most very likely to be hazardous to your general well-being.
I suspect I won't be able to take it on with these weapons, but let's give it a try. Getting this close probably isn't a good idea though, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, and you can see its shield recharged very, very quickly. And now we're heading for trouble. But like I say, I'm not going to worry too much just yet, because I do want to give a chance to get back to the hangar and show you the perk system. So we'll take this as a chance now to probably explode and die. We might as well go out in style by fighting a big ship, I guess. And we keep running out of energy, and I'm out of missiles, and we're very close to dying. Your ship is heavily damaged. You may consider boosting out of combat situations and open the in-game menu to repair your ship. Repairing your hull costs nanobots, which we already know, and I'm not too worried at the moment about dying. As like I say, we want to get back to the hangar to have a look at the perk system. And I can show you what happens when you do die. It doesn't mean we'll have to start at the beginning of the run again. But we're lasting surprisingly a long amount of time against all this. So, yeah. Damaged ship's components. One of the ship's main components was damaged and is not fully functional. You can repair it via the in-game menu. And if we have a quick look there, you can see our engine is actually knackered. So we've only got... And there we go. We're dead, but the guys are still talking. So be careful if you do take on the Corvaires. We've got 5,800 credits to spend and we can return back to the hangar. And like I say, when we start the game, we will be back at the first zone of Sector 1. But we've got perks and upgrades available. There's also other ships. We got the Interceptor, which I was using just now. And we've got the Colonial Scout, which is a nice and nimble little ship. And we've got the Colonial Gunship. Now these are very, very powerful, but also pretty slow as well. But the Interceptor was always my favourite ship. And so that's the one I'm going to keep. Now we've got a setup here so we can change the configuration of the ship. But at the moment, unfortunately, we can't actually do that. Because we haven't got any of the components that we would need to upgrade with. So we've got perks. Now perks come in various formats. You've got pilot perks, which carry across from ship to ship, and you've also got ship perks, as you can see here. So these apply to your specific ship. So let's see what we can spend. We can increase the sector scanner, add additional information to the sector map. So that's where I was showing you just now that the threat level and all the other information on the map was all neutral. So this would give us additional information to that particular map. We can get a credit loop bonus. What else have we got? Increase our nanobot efficiency. Component damage chance. Decreases the probability of a ship component damage. So I think what we're going to do is actually improve the ship itself. We can improve the ship's energy capacity. We can improve the ship's hull hit points. We can go for some extra device slots, which I don't think we really need at the moment, or we can improve some fuel capacity. So at the moment, we can't have any additional primary weapons. It looks like we need to get the device slots first. So these cost 200, and it looks like we need to spend a total of 2,000 to actually unlock it. So we could go with that, or we could go with extra hull hit points. What should we go for? I think we go for energy capacity right now. So there we can go there. We can see we can also spend on energy generation now that we've unlocked it. So what do we go for? Let's have a little bit of energy regeneration as well. So you can see the items actually get more expensive the more you spend on them. What are we down to? 3,800 right there. So we're going to actually unlock this as well. I think we need to spend 3 lots in there maybe. Oh no, we're going to need to spend a significant portion of our money there, unfortunately. But what that's now done is allowed us to have an additional primary slot weapon. And you may remember how I picked up a beam weapon, and I had to choose between the beam weapon and the pulse weapon. Once I unlocked this, I would be able to keep the beam weapon along with the pulse, but that costs a lot of money as well, more than we've probably got right now. Now I do like to buy shield upgrades, but unfortunately they don't seem to be here as a perk anymore. Maybe that's something we get to improve there. Any money you don't spend when you launch, you'll actually lose. You can't retain it for the next session, so you might as well spend everything we've actually got. Let's just spend it all on energy capacity at the moment. Oh, I can't buy the next one because that costs 1,200 and we've only got 1,000 left. So we'll go there, and we're nearly all spent out, unfortunately. Let's see if we can just go a little bit of money into the sector map there. And that's pretty much it, I think. That's all we can afford looking at this. So that means we're going to have to waste the 100 credits. And now we can launch again and get back into the game. There are different modes. You've got easy mode, normal and hard. I always fly at normal. And off we go. Down arrow to show more, which actually gives a bit of description on each mode. So here we are then, once again, back in Zone 1 of Sector 1. And this is where I'm going to leave it, I think. But just before I do go, I want to quickly, very quickly, show you something here. Let's wait for the challenges menu to disappear. Let's pause the screen. And what we can do here is action freeze. And this allows us to get some rather nice screenshots. And I'll probably use this one right here as a video thumbnail. So let's have a look. What's the best angle? Not a too bad angle, is it? F12 there will give us a screenshot straight into Steam. And that's where we're going to leave it. I'll be back later with some more Everspace. As always, thanks for watching. And I'll catch you guys and girls next time.